Okay, hello and welcome to the April 7th, 2014 regularly scheduled school committee meeting. Call the meeting to order 7 p.m. This meeting is being both audio and video taped this evening. And I would ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd ask for a roll call. To my left, please.
Elizabeth Marcy Boucher.
Rich Ficero.
Deirdre Mayo.
Gregory Thompson.
Gordon Smith, Superintendent of Schools.
Bill Fonseca.
Tara Dolitaris, Assistant Superintendent for Business. Kathy Saletti, Recording Secretary.
Ari Rashi, Student Rep.
Okay, thank you. And this evening we are privileged to have some recognitions tonight. We will start off with Dylan McKeon. Dylan is from East Long Meadow, obviously, in the automotive program, who has won a gold medal in the Automotive Service Technology Competition, and it's for a second consecutive year here. Yep. Excellent. So congratulations. We have an award for Dylan, if you want to come on up for a second. And this says the Massachusetts Skills USA 27th Annual West District Leadership and Skills Conference. Again, a gold medal winner. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dylan, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's fantastic. And you go on to compete
And the States.
in stakes. All right.
Cool.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, certainly.
Fun.
And then second, while we're up here, save the trip. We have Donovan Keeney in Graphic Communications, won a bronze medal in the Screen Printing Technology Competition. Donovan, congratulations. I want to thank you all for coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Okay, moving on, we have some minutes to approve, please.
Move to approve the March 24th regular session meeting minutes.
Motion made and seconded, discussion.
Compliments to Miss Saletti that she captured so well that district mid-cycle review.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Compliments to
I know.
Miss Saletti.
I had an opportunity to read
That
that,
was
yes.
wonderful.
Okay. Motion made and seconded, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Next up.
Motion to approve the March 24th, 2014 executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0 as well. Committee and subcommittee communications. We'll start with Aria tonight.
Senior Victoria Dutillo signed her letter of intent to play Division I soccer for Temple University. And all of the ELHS students who are receiving an award at awards night, which is May 8th, received their invitations today.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Okay. Mr. Fonseca.
Hey, as all of you know, I just landed back in Bradley 2 hours ago, came back from the NSBA National School Board Conference. Quite an event. The main areas of focus this year were student achievement, leadership, and collaboration. Very extensive talks on collaboration. I'll put together a report for our next meeting and give you guys a quick overview of what I attended.
Cool. Welcome home.
You'll include your nightlife also in that report, Mr. Fonseca?
Absolutely.
I have his luggage.
Mrs. May.
Oh, did you want to say?
Nope. What do you got?
Well, I just want to mention that a couple of us went to Music in Our Schools over at the high school, where it's the high school and Birchland Parks concert, and again,
That was great.
amazes me.
Yeah.
Every
Great
single
night.
time, and the ending was
Oh,
incredible.
yeah, it was.
The band coming down into the aisles made it very exciting.
Well,
And
good
then
show.
also I wanted to let everyone know that I attended reading night over at Meadowbrook, where they have an author read, and then they have their book fair going on again, and very well attended. They had a great turnout, lots of families showing up. It was fun to be there. That's all I have.
Great. Mr.
And you know
Fitzgerald.
it's spring when you can enjoy the athletics out in the field. I went to 4 different games, and the best game was when I went Saturday afternoon because I got served from the booth by my fellow school committee member here. So she was working the booth at the girls' women's lacrosse game, right?
Yes, girls lacrosse, yes.
So,
Very
yeah,
excited.
I'm impressed with the fact that our fields are all up to date, and even the baseball field's in good shape, so thanks to DBW for that. Thanks to RJ, our athletic director, for all he does too, so off to a good start there.
June 2nd is going to be eLeaf's annual golf event. I'll get you more information on that at a later date. And this Wednesday is the chamber concert at the high school, and students that play in that are par excellence, so I would recommend everybody go take a look.
Yeah.
Okay, just so everyone is aware, the vice chair, the superintendent, and myself toured all 5 buildings over the last 2 weeks. Pretty extensive tour, looked at some interesting things, some neat programs, some energetic teachers, a lot of the students doing some nice work, so.
It was pretty impressive when the 3 of us can walk in and it doesn't throw anybody off at all. They're doing what they need to do in the different classrooms, and some of the programs we saw outside the classrooms. It was fantastic. Yeah.
That's important. Good.
Okay, excellent. Any visitors would like to speak this evening? Seeing none, we will look to check on the robotics team tonight.
And tonight we got a special treat here with Mr. Van Buren and members of the robotics team. They're a few weeks away, well, actually less than 2 weeks away?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks away from heading out to California for the World Championships, for which they've qualified once again. I think 7 students are heading out. 8 students are heading out. And that will be during the April break. And they're going to give us a little demonstration here of some of the things that their robots can do. I don't know, Mr. Van Buren, if you want to bring it up in here and maybe introduce the students who are with you?
Sure, okay. You guys come on up. So we've got about 24 students in the program. We have 5 students here today. We're bringing 2 teams to the World Championship. It'll be, I believe, our 6th time at the World Championship. So from C team, we have Grace Arntz and Robbie Mazengil, Connor Harper. From A team, we have Mike Holman and Arnab Sarkar. They're going to do a little demonstration and show you what the robots are capable of doing. So, guys, come on up.
Certainly that wasn't a catapult, right?
Oh, I took the air out of that one.
Now, these are built from scratch by the team?
Yep, there's metal that we have to cut and redesign.
So it's not even a kit that you
No,
have to come up with the whole design?
You just get whole pieces of metal and we take a Dremel and fit them to our needs.
Wow. Now, how long does it take to make this? Yeah, I know.
But, you know, if you're over the summer and you got nothing better to do, probably a week or
Wow,
two.
we work on it for the whole
What's the shirt say? It's like metal.
Spartacles.
time.
The school committee wouldn't mind having one of those shirts.
Make a donation, I'm
You made a
sure.
donation?
So each year they give you a new type of robot for a
Yep.
different type of job.
A new challenge.
So what was the objective of this challenge?
This year, we have to take what are these what are called buckyballs, and we have to put them into a goal 24 inches above the ground. The only challenge is to get to the goals that are 2 feet above the ground, you have to get under a bridge that's under a foot tall.
Oh, okay.
And also in the field, there's a hanging bar 40 inches above that you can grapple onto and pull yourself up. Now, the only way to maintain the points is if you actually stay at the end of the match, because they cut the power to the robots. So if you're still hanging, you get the points.
One of those throw the ball?
I'm sorry?
Can they actually throw the ball?
Yeah, both of our robots have pneumatic actuators, which have catapults. Unfortunately, I'm still programming mine, so it works, but it's got a couple problems.
We're gonna see if we can get the other robot to demonstrate the catapult function.
That'd be great, yeah.
Just as long as it's at that wall.
That's the best response.
Remind us again, Mr. Van Buren, where are you going? Is it
Anaheim, California.
Anaheim, California?
So this is the third time that we will have gone to Anaheim. 2 times in Texas and 1 in Disney World.
Now, how many of the schools will be there participating in this?
There will be over 400 teams from around the world.
Wow.
We've got 2.
We have 2.
Our best record was my freshman year when we made it 16th in the world.
Wow. Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
What?
It's all right.
Very good.
Well, thank you for the demonstration,
Thank
and
you.
good luck.
I'm gonna go pick up approving your stuff. Yeah, that's-
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Keep us posted,
Let
let
us
us
know
know
how you
how it
do.
goes.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take care.
Congratulations.
Congratulations
Thank you for
again.
coming.
You know what's exciting is we're going right from that wonderful presentation, talking about the DESC fiscal review.
I was waiting for you for that.
Can't get better than that.
It just doesn't get much better than that.
In a way, this is Desi's way of catapulting.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, nobody else,
Great
I had
segue.
to call Miss Olajaz 2 or 3 times about this report, so I understand it.
And I was texting Greg on it too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do it. So we have the report on results from the DESE fiscal review.
Mrs. Olajars will walk us through this. Basically, we've had a number of reviews this year. We've had Title I, we've had a coordinated program review for English language education, for special education, and for civil rights. Still awaiting that response. And in the midst of all of that, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education contacted us and said that they would like to do a fiscal review of our fiscal procedures. Not an audit, but a fiscal review. And so this is the result of that fiscal review.
Okay, so there are 2 documents in your packet tonight that relate to this. The first one is a letter and a report from Maria Fernandez from the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And she goes through and talks about how she sat with me and we went through all of the, really all of the policies and procedures in regards to finances. And based on those, they felt comfortable that there are policies and procedures in place, which is good.
That's pretty strong words for an accountant to use, isn't it? Like using a word like comfortable like that? That's a compliment, isn't it? It is.
Also, it talks on the top of page 3 about the chart of accounts, which has been in existence for a number of years. This relates to all of the, accounts that we use. You see all the 531 accounts when we do one of those big budget reports, and it makes it easier to do the reporting that we have to do at the end of the year report and other reports. Also talks about best practices, that they felt good that there was mostly all of our policies were explained and were in existence in documentation, but they talked about a couple of policies that they thought we should include. One has to do with unclaimed payments or uncashed checks to vendors, which the town calls tailings, so we'll talk about those a little bit. And the usage of the credit card, which is really the Staples card, and we don't even really think about it as a credit card. But so we have had for a number of years a policy on financial procedures and practices and internal controls in the policy book under DAR-R, which is a regulation. And it was a time to update that anyways. And the last time it was updated was in 2007. So it was a good time to also...
Second part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other part, as we continue on through the report here, there was a discussion that we were late, 4 months late for a deadline on reporting However, I did point out to the auditor that that report was not made available to us, so we really weren't late. We filed it within 10 days of that becoming available. And the rest of it is pretty, the separate audit of the student activity accounts, which we have not had done in the past for a while. And so we have arranged to have that done in June for the high school and Birchland Park, and we'll do the elementary schools probably in the following years. Procurement. Oh, and then the last recommendation was about having a procedure in place for the procurement, to make sure that procurement of goods and services are not made from vendors that have been suspended or debarred. So it also added that to that DA-R policy and procedures. On the last page of this report, number 4 is really the meat of the report, and this is the fact that they went through our Title II Part A grant really with a fine-tooth comb for all of last year and the first part of this fiscal year. And the observations were that the Improving Educator Quality Grant, general ledger transactions for the period ending February 6th were tested and reviewed, and all expenditures tested and reviewed proved to be for professional development, training classes for teachers, as well as necessary, reasonable, and allowable costs to the program.
Good.
Okay?
Very good.
So the next document is the financial office procedures, practices, and
Do we
internal
have to
controls.
approve this report? Or is this just information?
It's really informational.
Yeah.
I don't know that you have to approve
I
it.
know we have to approve the,
Right, this is,
Yeah.
this is, and Ms. Solidaris will walk us through this. This is the regulation for policy DA. Policy DA deals with fiscal procedures, and then this outlines in pretty extensive detail all the different procedures that
Right.
the school department follows. And so with these recommendations, we've attempted to update this regulation.
This document has been in place for a number of years, and so all of the highlighted items are places where there have been changes, and some of those changes are just related to the fact that it has changed since 2007. For instance, on page 3, we now do not have summer payrolls for teachers anymore. Everyone is paid off at the end of June. So that was the change in that, on that page. The next change is on page 5, which really deals with just a little bit of different, how we handle payroll deductions are handled by our payroll clerk now, with the exception of health and life and dental insurances. The next change is on page 8, and here are adding the recommendations from the auditor about suspended and disbarred vendors, and the Staples credit card, which really is a card that is maintained in our safe, and people do have to come in and sign up and get permission to take it to Staples, bring it immediately back with a receipt. So it's really meant just for, small purchases that, need to happen quickly. It's not something that we put out there as a credit card, but it does have a credit line, so that's why we put that in there.
So Terry, do we want to specify the vendor specifically in this policy? Is there a chance we would ever not have Staples and perhaps someone else?
We do
Oh.
use WB Mason.
Well, but we don't have a credit.
Yeah,
card.
yeah,
it's not a credit card.
We don't have a
We use a
credit
lot
card.
of other vendors, but always with a
Right, but I mean
purchase
with the
order.
credit card. Okay, just because we specifically state Staples is the only credit card we have, if that's all we're ever gonna have, then that's fine. I'm just asking in terms of keeping the policy relative to what we're doing.
We could do that, but I think this is pretty specific to that, and the fact that we just take it to the local
Okay.
store. If we add another credit card, which is kind of unlikely, we could always add that to this procedure,
Okay.
to add a procedure for that.
Fair
Now,
enough.
when you talk about small purchases, is there a dollar limit on your small purchases?
We usually, like to do under $100.
Okay.
Sometimes if we have to have an office chair for somebody, they might want to go sit in it first, and.
Well, no,
and
I
that might be
understand,
more
I
than
understand how all that
$100,
works, but, okay. All right, thank you.
Also, we've added number 7, which is the unclaimed payments or uncashed checks. And I did receive procedures for tailings from the town treasurer, which is really also a procedure that the state uses and recommends on how to, and it's really like over 7 years. It's a long process.
That's in the appendix.
Right, it's at the very end. On page 9, we've just, updated our budget timeline and process over the last couple of years. And I think one more on page 11, just added that the grant financial information is included in the quarterly financial reports to the school committee. Also put in there that federal, state, and other grants will be accepted by the school committee annually. We've been starting to do that with all the donations and everything too. And then at the end, of the financial report, within 60 days of the ending date of the grant, which is the regulation. And then the appendixes are, this is the current debarment list of vendors that have been disbarred. And information about that and the procedures for the tailings. If you have any questions,
How often does that disbarred list get updated? Like if somebody gets barred tomorrow, are we gonna know about it?
I think we would probably have to look at it quarterly.
Okay.
And just make sure that
Okay.
there's nobody on it. Or as we add new vendors,
Make sure that they're not there.
right, that they're not
Yeah,
there.
because I just don't wanna get caught in the
Right.
middle of, because they're really, the state is really, and not just in education, across the board, they're really cracking down on this
Right.
because of all the fraud that has occurred.
Oh, so there's not a site you go to that can tell you the
Well-
vendors and their status?
Well, there is a site, and that's where I got this list from. But I don't believe they notify you when somebody gets disbarred. so
Right.
you
No,
really
that
have
was
to
my,
just
that's
kind
why I
of-
asked,
kind of
you know,
look
is
at
there?
it,
Right.
make a habit of looking at it quarterly or.
Because they won't tell you that somebody's been disbarred, but if you use them, they'll come crashing down,
Right.
saying you should have, and it's about accountability.
Right.
Do we usually follow a second reading with this?
We do. I'm certainly willing to entertain a foregoing of a second reading.
We can waive the second reading.
Yeah.
But we could do a motion to that effect in terms of waiving the second reading, if you want.
So I move that we waive the second reading on,
Approve DA dash.
We'll waive it first.
pardon?
Yeah, we'll waive it first, and then
Okay.
we'll approve it, if you don't mind.
Okay, on file DAR, agenda item 5.2.1.
Okay?
I'll
Motion
second.
Made and seconded, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. And we can then approve.
Make a motion to accept the revised file DA dash R.
Do you want to mention the year?
2014.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0 as well. Okay, last on our list, statewide applicant fingerprint authentication services.
Aye.
Going from finances to fingerprinting.
Boy, what is that, how does that work?
In your packets, you have both an updated memo to our employees, and I believe we have the original memo in there as well. Maybe just the updated one. Back in July, we had created a similar memo to this one that was handed out as new employees were hired. And basically what this is, it's outlining a recent law that has gone into effect, and it's taken some time to actually get to the point of full implementation. And I'm not sure that we're actually at full implementation, but at least we have gone through what they call a soft launch, and now a increasing, I guess, more concrete launch, if you will, with new employees. But basically, the regulation, the new regulation, is linking all of Massachusetts databases with a criminal database across the country. And the way they're going to be able to do that is they're going to require that all school department employees submit to fingerprinting as part of their criminal background check. And it starts first with anyone who is hired on or after July 1st, 2013 as a new employee. So those new employees that we hired this year have to get this accomplished by June 15th of this coming June 15th. And just so that we're aware of how this procedure is taking place and how the vendor is working, because it took them a while to actually identify and adopt a vendor across the state, and then it took them even a few months to then get up and running across the state. So there is a vendor office in Springfield, and actually Mrs. Saletti has already visited that office and gotten her fingerprints done, so she was the first one for the East Long Meadow Public Schools. I'm scheduled to go on Wednesday, and I think we'll have some union officers also getting involved, because it's going to involve all our different negotiating groups. There is a fee for licensed employees of $55, and if you are not carrying a license from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, the fee is then $35. They do accept checks, and they accept credit cards. You can schedule online, or you can schedule by phone. The memo that we put together here for our new employees and then eventually all our employees gives you somewhat of a step-by-step approach. It's relatively easy online. We have not done the phone access, but we will test that soon as well. And what it should give us is now a way to connect with any possible criminal activity across the country. School committee will also, similar to veteran employees, will also be part of this regulation and required to get fingerprinting as well.
Is there a deadline for us?
What we have to do with veteran employees is within the next 3 years. So similar to what they did when they changed the Corey regulation, you have to get your veteran staff through this process within the next 3 years. So we'll have to do it in phases.
Does it apply to those that would like to volunteer in these schools and now only are required to have a Corey?
It's a good question. Volunteers who might be coming in for one day in a classroom where you have staff, we would probably not put through this process. Volunteers who might be going on, say, a field trip where we know that there's planning well in advance, such as the robotics team, that would be something we probably would put through this process, where they have the time, the planning in advance to go schedule this and put them through this type of background check.
So will we have a policy to that regard then?
That's something that we can put together, and we have not revised a policy. I'm not sure that we have, other than a Corey, that we have anything around fingerprinting, so
No.
that's something that we should
But
add.
that's our determination, not the state's, because we
No, the
have so
state's
many
recommending that,
volunteers, it could
I
be cost
believe that you
prohibitive.
do field trips. I mean,
Yeah.
MASC is recommending that you
Yeah.
do field trips, as I just described, but not necessarily your daily classroom volunteer.
Okay.
And the differentiation would be such that your classroom volunteer is, one, it's on a daily basis, so it might be a one-time or even of just a few hours, and you're usually with professional staff the entire time. You're not alone with students. In a field trip, you might be chaperoning a group of students and may have some time where you are alone with students.
Okay.
And so that's the differentiation that they've used to make that recommendation.
Okay.
Now,
But
if-
what you're calling, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
what you're calling a field trip wouldn't be like an overnight one. What if the kids are going to like Connecticut Science Museum?
Yeah, if they're going to the Connecticut Science Museum where you have 30 days' notice, I think we should, that would be part of what Mr. Thompson, I think, is talking about, where we should put that
It's a
into our
tough one.
policy.
Yeah, I haven't
Well,
really, because we're
if-
asking them to pay to volunteer their time.
If-
So that's a discussion for another day, though, if we bring a policy forward to the board.
Well, we did, if you recall, when we got to Corey in our policy subcommittee, we did have a brief discussion about developing a policy in regards to fingerprinting, and it was brought forward by our consultant, Pat Carrera. We did talk about this briefly while I was away last week. As I said, I was with the all Massachusetts people. A lot of the other districts are in the process of developing policies around this, so I think
Around
it's something
volunteers.
around volunteers. I think it is something that we will have to think about going
Yeah.
forward and probably act on it soon.
MASC MASC is going to put out a generic...
They are going to put out a generic policy.
They have not done so yet.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're working on it now. I don't know, they didn't, Executive Director Glenn Kuchar did not have a definite date when it will be available, but there is going to be something out there.
Aria, how do you feel about fingerprinting?
Well, I think Ms. Mayo had a good point about making people pay. Like, I think it's a good idea, but in the case where somebody's volunteering their time, I mean, I see the importance of like the concept of it, but since it does cost money, I don't really know how they'd feel about it personally, and we might lose people
Yeah, that's an
for that
unfortunate
position.
Yeah. But
possible consequence of that.
Okay, so we'll have to talk about that.
we'll have to definitely talk about that.
But tonight, we're just basically reviewing the memo that you sent, and we're just following Mass General Law.
Right. The current employees and new employees, we don't have a choice. That's
Right.
something that we do have to follow and start to implement.
Okay.
And as I get information, I'll bring it forward.
All right, thank you for that information, and with that, we're ready to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Second.
And seconded by Mr. Fonseca. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.